Good Saturday mornings here at Loudoun County Weather Outlook. Hey, if you woke up and you went out to your car and saw a whole bunch of dust and dirt on it, that is from rain. We had a few light rain showers overnight. The dust from the desert southwest and into Texas that you may have seen last week on some of the newscasts if you watch the weather at all, it got picked up into the atmosphere, thrown up, and then the rain clouds poured it out as little mud droplets all over your car overnight. You need enough rain to wash it back out, so yeah, if your car's dirty, that's why. Today, on this March 8th, 2025 here, we're kind of cool. We're not super warm today. We also are going to get some breezes. Due to those breezes, we have elevated fire potential here this afternoon, so I really would not burn anything. So you see the northerly winds. That low to the north, it's kind of brought in the colder air. This originally was a low that we thought was going to come up into our region, potentially to cause a threat of some wintry weather. But it really got suppressed way far south. Didn't actually ever link with northern stream energy. And thus, though we stay cool, we're not super cold because of the time of the year. But this wind in this configuration does not bode well for a really warm week as much as I want it to be. And I think it could be. I do have concerns. I'll show you as we go through the forecast. Eventually here, this low and some southwesterly winds will warm us some. So I think we'll be in the 60s, maybe 70s by Tuesday. So here we are on Monday. This definitely looks pretty warm. 60s look like probably a pretty good bet. But you see this high position up here? It's not good. And you have a low to the south. And so you get counterclockwise flow here, clockwise flow here. And what you're going to get is you're going to get easterly winds off the ocean. And somewhere along here, if this gets strong enough, you get what's called a backdoor cold front or a front off the ocean. It comes through the region and it wrecks your warmer air. And it ends up being kind of foggy, cloudy through the week. And I see hints of that all week long with this high up here to the north, not really budging too much, initially. And then we have the low to the south. So maybe here on Monday, I think we look pretty good, to warm up some, possibly, because we've got the southerly winds and southeasterly winds. So maybe we kind of warm up a little bit here on Monday and Tuesday. This originally was going to be the low that, like I said, potentially would cause us some rain. And we get some strong southwesterly winds. So this does look like it gets scoured out early in the week. So by Tuesday, yep, I'd say we're pretty warm. And then the same comes true for Tuesday. And then this front to the north brings us high. When we get east of a high and we get this northerly flow, we start to get this cold air damping scenario. You can see it. You see the dips here and the isobars. That means cold air is getting pushed and funneled to the east. And this is Wednesday, which was the day I thought would be really warm. I'm not so sure anymore. Because what we're not seeing is that easterly fetch bringing cold air and sagging lines of low pressure. We'll have to look at the temperature map and see if it's actually showing up on the temperatures as well. It is not ideal for us. This is an easterly wind fetch and cold air off the ocean, which means even though it is definitely warmer in the upper atmosphere, we get trapped inversion, meaning cold air at the surface, and we get these foggy, drizzly types of things, especially overnight. We need the moisture, so it's good, but you see this cold air damming. You see these lines being sagging here east of the mountains. And so it just makes it possible that we're just not going to be as warm as I thought for as long as I'd hoped. Here the warm air is trying to scour it out, and it probably will ultimately be successful as the side gets off the shore. We get some potential return, but still, this is an easterly fetch. It's still showing sagging. It's still showing colder conditions. So yeah, look at that. Look at that, how hard it's pushing against all this warm air, the strong southerly winds, which will ultimately win out. But, when will it? Now, this is a blockbuster low here. This has been forecast for a while. Here into into northeast Colorado. This is a very low area of low pressure. I can't talk. I would be surprised if it's a strong blizzard here for mountain regions. Eventually here the plains, and eventually there's going to be a front that kind of gets kicked out in front of it. We finally get into super strong southerly and southwesterly flow eventually here. So we'll warm up significantly once this happens. So by next weekend, I suspect we'll be pretty warm, although I still see, unfortunately, the signature of some easterly flow cutting off the warmth that it could be. But this low and this southerly winds are going to be really, really strong. Man, that is some tight isobars. This is a very strong low pressure system. So severe weather on the southern plains is definitely looking likely if this is to come true, and it's been on forecast model after forecast model. It also has a hard time moving east, so this could be some very heavy rains for folks into the south, mid-south here, early next week. This is our strong winds, a very strong wind. We're really surprised wind advisories come about. If this is the case for next weekend, as we get strong southerly flow, we should also be very warm, and then maybe some stronger storms will come through. We'll have to see. This one's so far disassociated with the upper low that maybe it won't be as much. But still, very windy conditions. Windy to follow, but not super cold to follow, which is cool. Which is why maybe it's not going to be quite as severe. But look, here's a follow-up low, southwesterly winds. Now this looks warm because we are in the right type of flow for the time being. So, and then we get the cold air damping again. Go figure. Cold air trying to push down into the mountains yet again. So, yeah, it's kind of a crazy scenario. We'll get warm for a few days, then we'll have to watch and see if the cold air comes off the oceans and kind of wrecks that warmth. Once we get this far out, I mean, it's just a repeat pattern with these lows going across the central part of the country. Front on the front, in front of it, causing some severe weather down in the south. All right, this is a long explanation. Let's see what the temperatures look like. I was really describing a lot what was going on because I was seeing those easterly winds. So here we go. This is over the next, we're going through the night and overnight time, so it gets pretty chilly overnight. Then we get into 40s, 50s tomorrow, 60s not too far away. So up in the mid-50s tomorrow. Whoa, I jumped way ahead. Sorry about that, y'all. So anyway, so we jump up into the 50s, then we cool off at night. Sure, then we warm up. This is 60s, it looks like. And here's where, on Tuesday, Wednesday, look at that. They're showing 60s for Tuesday. That's nice and warm and toasty. So, are these colder winds going to come off the ocean and mess up our temperatures is the question. 60s continue here on Wednesday, not the 70s like originally thought. And then Thursday, we get that cooler easterly flow, and that's why we cool down for the weekend. So that's what I'm seeing there. The long and short of it is, this is not a very wet pattern at all. Unfortunately, we're still in a drought. It looks like it's going to warm up for sure, but we'll have dry, breezy conditions. I mean, potentially get some rain, later in the week. We'll have to see how that comes about. And, temperatures probably getting up into the 60s. We'll have to see, though, if these backdoor fronts wreck the chance of our 70s that it looked like at one point. We'll have to see. Anyway, long explanation for not much weather. Hope you have an awesome Saturday. It's been your Loudoun County Weather Outlook.